Hi everybody, Levi Clay here, and I'm back again to do another soloing school lesson. This time we are looking at the song Sweet Child of Mine and how you can approach soloing over that using different pentatonic scales to outline the changes a bit more clearly. So I picked Sweet Child of Mine because it's a simple pop chord progression, right? It's a D major to a C, playing a C add 9 there, a G, and back to a D. Won't do that bit. So yeah, in essence, it could be any chord progression that's using that chord movement. What I wanted to draw to your attention is that these chords, D major, C major, and G major, are all in the key of G major. They all belong within that key. So you could look at that and say, well, over the top of these chords, I can just play the G major scale. And you'd be correct to a degree. If I play the chords, and then I play G major, you get, I mean, it doesn't sound like the chord progression, but none of the notes are all that offensive. Another approach, a slightly more musical approach, might be to use the notes of the G major pentatonic scale. So now, the problem with that as an approach is you end up doing what I just did there. It starts to sound like I'm playing E minor pentatonic. Those are the same notes. So what I'm going to suggest is actually a tool that's going to help you practice your visualization skills. You see, because these three chords are all taken from the same key, we can actually build a major pentatonic scale starting on each one. So over the D major chord, we can actually play the D major pentatonic scale. Well, I'll give you the fingerings for that in a second, but if we look at the notes of that D major pentatonic scale, we've got a D, an E, an F sharp, an A, and a B. Well, all of those notes are in the G major scale. Take my C major pentatonic, we've got the notes C, a D, E, a G, and an A. Again, all of those notes are in that G major scale. And then finally our G major pentatonic, we've got a G, an A, a B, a D, and an E. Again, all of those notes are in that G major scale. So each one of these major pentatonic scales does actually come from the parent major scale, if you like. So in order to play these, what I'm going to recommend you do is get to grips with chord voicing. So once again, we're talking caged, right? So just as a starting place, I'm going to play my D major chord here. This is the voicing I like to play if I'm thinking G-shaped caged. So I've got my root note on the 10th fret of the low E string, and then I'm playing my triad 7, 7, and 7 on the D, G, and B strings. You're probably more used to seeing people try and play this chord like that. That's impractical to me, but this, very easy to play. The next chord would be C. So if I'm in this area of the neck, I would see my C root note as being here on the 8th fret of the low E, and when I put my finger here, well, I know I've got that E major bar shape to play that chord voicing. And then finally, when I need to go to G, again in this area of the neck, the note G is found here at the 10th fret on the A string, so I've got that C-shaped bar chord. So those would be my chords, right? Ba da 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 da. So those will work. The skill is practicing being able to see this chord position and then being able to see a related major pentatonic scale. So this would be shape 5 of the major pentatonic scale. It sounds like this. Now, Play the chord, then the scale. Now it'd be easy to look at that and say, Levi, those are just notes of the B minor pentatonic scale. That is right, but I don't want you to think like that. I want you to think of the chord. Because your vocabulary that you'll play to make it sound like this chord will hinge around that actual chord voicing. All of those phrases that I just played there sound very much like this chord. So that would be our D major scale, D major pentatonic. Then we're going to move to our C major. So nothing changes, I've still got this bar chord form, and then around that I'm seeing my major pentatonic scale. So that would be the root, then the second, then the third, then the fifth, then the sixth. The root, second, third, fifth, sixth, and 1. So I've got my chord, but I can still see my major pentatonic scale. It all fits around this chord form in my mind. And then finally moving on to the C shape. Major pentatonic scale. Now I'm deliberately not showing you these scales one note at a time. This is, I don't know, Solo in School Part 4. You want to be getting to the stage now where your ears, you're relying on your ears. Your ears are the things that you start to trust. This bo, bo, do, 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 ba, 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 da, 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 da. I can hear that major pentatonic scale. When I go to my C, bo, do, ba, 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 da, 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 do. I can hear what that scale is going to sound like. Therefore, when I'm working out the notes, it's actually not all that tricky for me to do. Bo, da, 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 bo, da, da, do, da, 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 so I'm always trying to hear everything that I'm playing. So now we've got this kind of roadmap. G shape, E shape, C shape. I can practice using each one of those scale patterns to outline the chord changes. So we might have our D chord. That's my C. It's my G. G chord again, and back to my D. So now if you go back and listen to that, you can very clearly hear the chord changes for each one of those chords. And you want to practice this, G shape, E shape, C shape, everywhere on the neck. So if I were to do that down here, my D chord would be using the C shape. When I go to my C chord, that'd be my A shape, and when I go to my G chord, that's my E shape. So we have And the same thing applies. I've got my chord voicing, and then all of my major pentatonic scales that fit around each one of those chord voicings. So again, if I improvise in this area of the neck, I'm still going to outline those chord changes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That was some pretty ropey improvising, but I was outlining the chord changes. And no matter where I go, I'm always going to have that level of confidence. So again, for argument's sake, if I was here, this would be my D chord, this would be my C, and this would be my G. That would be my Wi-Fi. So again, so some pretty ropey transitions there, but that's the fun. That's how this stuff becomes internalized. You spend the time really getting used to all of these changes and being able to play on what you're playing and then hear what the next change is and resolve to it effectively, and you will start to sound very musical. So what I'm going to do now is just to end this, I'm going to play some simple ideas around a D chord, and I'm going to transition, and then there's going to come a time where I'm going to go, you know what, I'm going to resolve to a C chord now. And in order to do that, I'm going to target, I'm going to land on the third of C. So that'll be E. So that will sound like this. The chords will be, you know, D going to C. So we might have a melody that goes. Okay, so how do I get from there to my C? I've got two options. I can either walk down 2 frets and that'll get me on my root of C, or I can move up 2 frets and that gets me to my third of C. So now you heard that chord change again. That was me resolving to the root of C. Let me play a different phrase. So maybe I start D here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, that's me walking up to the third of C. One more time, D. That's me resolving to the root of C. Go to my G. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to close up with a simple improvisation. And in fact, while I do that, I'm going to put these guys on screen. These are my Patreon supporters. So big thank you to you guys for your support. You help keep this channel going. You can check me out on Patreon if you want to be like these cool people. So here we go. carried away. So if you would like to be like those awesome people that are supporting me on Patreon, you can do so by clicking this button up here. You can subscribe by clicking this little button down here, and you'll see 2 more of my videos here and here. Please do let me know how you get on with this. If you have any questions, if you need any help with it, please do let me know in that comment section below. Thank you so much for all of your support, guys, and I will see you for another video soon.